Well, it's building air. That's good. Running just over 10 grand. Good oil pressure. Coolants. Up this wheel. It's not locked up for nothing. Looks good in there. Nice and greasy. Alright, well that works. I positively know it works because me and Tony rebuilt it. Flat hands look good. No chooch on that. Looks pretty good. How about this one? That one looks pretty good too. Looks good too. So the lights in the cab should work too. There's only one that works. That one does not work. That is the only dome light that works in this truck. There's three down here.
Gauge lights work.
All the gauges work. All the lights come on the dash before starting. Even the radio works. And that gauge works. And all these come on as well. All of them.
Engine lights or...
No, the engine light comes off. Alright, perfect.
And when you're back here, you want to check your leaf. You want to check U-bolts, make sure they're good and tight down here. You want to check all those. You want to check and make sure there's no cracking anything on these. So you want to make sure all the lights work. The lights work as well as the lows. Alright, so when you're back here, you want to make sure you check your drum and your pads. Make sure there's no wears or cracks. Make sure they're all in spec. When you're back here, you want to check the chambers. You want to check your hosing. You want to check all the tubing. Make sure there's no leaks or anything. Check your valves. And then you want to check your frame. Make sure there's no cracking. Make sure there's no missing bolts back here. Nothing like that. So now you're going to want to check your exhaust. Make sure it's not rusted through, any cracks or leaks. If this one looks pretty good, it would pass. And you're gonna want to check your tanks. No leaks in the hoses, no cracks. The drive line, drivetrain, the U-joints.
Carrier bearing.
Carrier bearing. And you're gonna check the rear U-joint.
Check the pinion seal.
The pinion seal. Make sure it's not leaking.
How like this is a master video.
You want to make sure you check your shocks. You can see this one looks like it's leaking a little bit of oil. Come over here. This one's good. Over here. This one's good.
Check all the hangers.
Oh, you want to check your hangers. You want to make sure they're good. Make sure the main leaf. There's nothing wrong with these. Make sure there's no cracking, no nothing, no broken leaves at all. You want to check your leveling valve when you're down here. As you can hear, there is a visible leak on it. So you can see here is a little bit of weather checking on the bottom. Right there.
Chambers. This one has a plug out of it, which is not good. But want to make sure the spring, you can't hear a visible spring. You usually hit on that a couple times. You can hear a spring broken there or something like that. Looks like all the chambers are in pretty good condition. Alright, so we got the tractor service brakes and trailer service brakes. Trailer is on. And then the tractor one is on. Tractor's on. And make sure wheel seals aren't leaking. On the back here, it could be leaking on the back or the front. Doesn't matter, even on the rear, check your wheel seals. Alright, up here you want to check your Well, the inspection plate is on, but if it's off, you want to inspect your clutch, inspect the bell housing, make sure there's no fluid leaking out of it. Usually engine oil will leak out of it if you have a rear main seal go out or a trans seal. You want to go and check your air tank fittings. You want to check your tank strapping and make sure that's good and tight on both sides there. And then the exhaust tubing coming out, your sensors all good. And then your frame, make sure there's nothing in your frame that's cracked up here. And both primary and secondary tanks. Up here, make sure your rear bracket for your spring is good and tight. There's nothing loose up there. Check the tie rod up here. Make sure that's tight. Check your kingpin for any loose wear or anything like that. Check your tie rod ends. Make sure that's tight. Make sure there's no wobble in there. Make sure that's tight going on to your spider. Make sure the drag link is tight. Make sure your pitman arm is tight. Right, nothing going on looseness wise. Check your shock. Make sure that's tight. No oil leaking out of it. Check your front air hose for your brake chamber. And there's no visible cracks over here. No visible leaks coming from your steering pump. Check your U-bolts on your front axle here. Make sure there's no oil, fuel, cracks in the oil pan or something stupid like that. And then do the same for the other side. Check your suspension components while you're underneath the truck. Check your brake chamber. Here you can see up in the engine. So you can see something from the bottom, like the bottom of the turbo or something like that, or something's loose. Like one of these could be loose.
Airports.
Make sure your oil filter's on good.
Yeah. It looks like it was leaking at one point here,
And
but that's fixed.
so you want to check the shaft going into your steering box. Make sure that this gear, the spline gear, isn't stripped all the shit. Make sure your box isn't leaking or nothing.
Sure there's no overly excessive play in the steering wheel, which is a result. If there is play, it could be further down by the steering box. Here, this one looks to be okay.
Alright, when you're doing an inspection too, you want to make sure that the fuel filter is not leaking any fuel out of it. Make sure this filter is in decent condition. Make sure none of these hoses are leaking or nothing. You want to make sure your fuel tanks back here are good, not loose or nothing like that. You'd see if they were loose, they'd be moving on you. You'd see wear right here. And then you'd want to make sure the rubber strap here is not weather checked or nothing. It looks like it's pretty good. You want to get this crap out of the way. Make sure the cap is on tight, not missing or anything on the dual tanks. That one's good too. So, and then check your airbags. Might as well when you're over here too. Make sure all your hose into that is good. You want to make sure that your gasket behind your axle shaft is good here. And there's oil in it. You want to make sure there's oil in it. There's oil in there. And I keep it. Ah, shit. Fuck. This fucking piece of shit there. And then same thing on the back side. You want to make sure there's no wheel seal issues going on with the back here. Like I said, you'd see it dripping on the ground or in your drum or something like that. So, and also since you're back here and you're up around looking at shit, you might as well go and look at some brake tubing. Make sure all that shit's good. Wheels and rims, you want to make sure your lug nuts are nice and tight. Here, you want to check for any visible leaks coming from your reservoir here for your axle shaft, or not your axle shaft, but your spindle. So your bearings are sitting behind this, and you could go and start leaking out here. It looks good though. There's a missing valve stem though. I mean, shit. I need a light. Check behind here for any visible leaks, you'd see it down on the rim down here if there's any leaks or something like that, or in the drum on the brake pads or something. Make sure your castellated nuts are on the truck as well. Looks like that one's in, and the cotter pin is in. Same with that one there, and that one down there on both sides. You want to make sure that's your drive tires. Look at that. Here's some abnormal wear here. It looks like right in here. Looks like it's got a coupling issue right here on the side. That could mean it's got a bad alignment on it, or suspension parts are worn. Check cross members too. Check to make sure there ain't no cracking. You know, from people going and putting too heavy of a load on there.
Eric's going over this. I think we're not doing
So, and then this drive flip wheel plate, that ain't good. You want to put some grease on it. Steel glazing looks like that's pretty good. No problems there. But you're up here and you got your trusty old buddy in the truck. Have him turn the windshield wipers on. You got to turn the key on. Get that ready. And check out your dirty old greasy windshield wipers. Keep on going, giving her a snort. Keep on going, I bet you there's some in the reservoir. Holy shnikes, turned it off. Well, yeah, that doesn't spray any fluid because, well, there's a leak somewhere and I hear it. So, yeah, let's check out your old windshield wipers here and check them out. See if they got a, see if they still got an edge to them. Looks like it does. Maybe that could be replaced.